Hey,
started?
you're listening to an... Josh, how could you? Here we go. Hey, you're listening to Amateur Hour, another episode. I'm your host, James, and I'm joined by my co-host, Josh.
Hello.
And today we're talking about The Mummy Returns. The Mummy Returns just passed its 25th anniversary. Very exciting for The Mummy Returns. The Mummy actually just recently passed its 27th anniversary. So also very exciting for The Mummy. The Mummy is gonna come out with another sequel, The Mummy 4, starring Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz, John Hannah, possibly Oded Fehr, and that's all we know. But it's coming out. They're going to retcon The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. And I'm a big Mummy fan. In fact, I am the biggest Mummy fan. And if you think you're a bigger Mummy fan than me, you're wrong. I've seen The Mummy.
What's your favorite movie?
The Mummy. My favorite movie of all time is The Mummy, which you got to be.
Wow, I had no idea.
You got to be a big Mummy fan for that to be your favorite movie. I've seen The Godfather. I've seen Heat. I've seen Goodfellas. I don't know why I'm naming all mafia movies, but The Mummy is my preferred movie out of all of them, which I think says a lot. Anyway, The Mummy Returns is not my preferred movie out of all of those. The Mummy Returns is awful. But anyway, we're going to talk about, hopefully, a lot more Mummy movies in prep for The Mummy 4. So, The Mummy Returns, we're gonna pick right up into it. The Mummy Returns starts off in a way all Mummy movies should, with a little prologue. And it's saying like, oh, hey, here's the Scorpion King. The Scorpion King is played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. First movie Dwayne Johnson was ever in, by the way. Outstanding performance, no notes. Yeah.
Let's go with that.
He's
really bad.
It's very funny. He's like, Aku Machente! And like he just sounds like Dwayne Johnson. He's been acting as Dwayne Johnson the whole time. He's never not been Dwayne Johnson. Terrible actor. But he's pretty funny. And when the executives saw the shooting from that day, so like Dwayne Johnson himself is only in like 5 minutes of the movie. Maybe 6. But when they got all the shooting done and they sent it to the executive directors, or to the executives and the producers and everybody, they were like, dude, spin-off movie. So they made The Scorpion King. 2002.
A wise idea.
Wise idea?
Because everyone saw this film and was hyped to see more of him.
Everyone really wanted to see The Scorpion King. Everyone wanted to know why did he become a scorpion? Why did he become evil? Oh, yeah. Anyway, we're just going to talk about things as they come up. So in this movie, he's evil. The Scorpion King, he's like, I'm killing everybody. But in the Scorpion King movie, he's a great guy. He's like, oh, I'm fighting for honor and, rescued the damsel in distress, saved the day, as Winston Havelock says. I bet you don't know that guy's last name. I'm the biggest Mummy fan.
Who?
See, Winston Havelock? Winston Havelock, at your service.
Oh, Winston. Yeah, I know him. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so
I took notes.
No, we can't talk about Winston in this one.
No, not about Winston.
Okay, sorry, go.
I took notes when I was watching this movie, and by I took notes, I mean I wrote 2 within the first 10 minutes, and then I forgot. But one of them points out the fact that this film takes place in 3067 BC.
What?
That's when the prologue takes place.
Yeah, what about it?
3067 BC.
Oh. Yeah. Anyway, it's jumping around. It's like, boom, 3067, and then it's like modern day. I want to say it's 1932. No.
Oh, Mr. Expert here doesn't know the exact date, huh?
Shoot. 1928.
Oh,
let me see. Let me Google. It's 1928 is what I'm saying. When does The Mummy Returns take place. I'm gonna say that The Mummy takes place in 1924. The Mummy, that doesn't make any sense. The Mummy takes place in 1922. The Mummy Returns takes place in 1928. Let's see. Fuck, I was right the first time. 1933. Dang it! Oh, I have to kill
fake
myself.
fan, buddy. Fake fan. World's
I
worst.
should have stuck with the
worst Mummy fan.
1933. Dude.
You're just LARPing as a
Oh
fan.
my god. Anyway, so
Shame on you.
a couple years later, yeah, it's jumping all over 1933. Anyway, so after Dwayne Johnson, right, the Scorpion King guy, he's walking through the sacred desert of Amshare, and he makes a deal with Anubis, the god of death, the Egyptian god of death, and he's like, "Hey, spare my life," and he does, and he sends a scorpion to him. And the scorpion, he picks up the scorpion and he bites his head off, and the scorpion's like, stinging him as he's picking him up. And it's like, dude, why? There's no reason for the scorpion to sting him. Does the sting, is that what finalizes him giving his soul over to Anubis? Is it him biting the head off of the scorpion, or the scorpion stinging him, or the trees coming up? It doesn't make any sense. They're all just putting whatever they want in this movie to make it seem, cool, cool and spooky and curse-esque. Anyway, so then he goes...
If I was Anubis, I probably wouldn't have made that deal. Because I really don't think he gets a lot out of it.
Well, Anubis? I mean, he gets a soul and he gives up sand. Because the Anubis people are made of sand.
He gives him the whole army, bro.
Yeah, but they're all made of sand. I don't think it's that hard to make.
I think it's a crazy deal.
Whatever. That's why you're not Anubis, I guess. Anyway.
I'd probably ask for at least a second or third soul. No bartering?
This whole
He's not
movie...
gonna at least barter with this guy?
This whole movie doesn't make any sense. They're always talking about, like, there's a fine line between coincidence and fate. Hard ass line. However, what do you mean? You can't write a whole film based on, fate. You know what that's code for? We made it up. We just decided we're going to put these things in here. For example, they just happen to go to the basically the shrine of the Scorpion King, and that's where the bracelet of Anubis is held. And Evelyn's like, I saw it in a dream. Okay. All right.
It came to me in a dream. And, yeah. I also hate, it's so corny, this movie, compared to the first one. Like, the first one, it's pretty campy, but it's not corny. You know what I mean? There's, 3 evil adventurers in this one that are basically taking the place of the 3 Americans from the first movie. And they get assimilated by Imhotep. And one of them is like, the ghost. And then the other guy's is like Pintel. The other, Pintel and Regretti from Pirates of the Caribbean, the fat pirate and the really skinny pirate. You don't even have to tell me. I know just by their name. Right.
That's what those other 2 Americans were, but if the other 2 evil guys were, the evil henchmen, I guess.
There was one part where they all pulled their guns out, and the skinny guy pointed
points
his
it right at the other guy's
skull,
dude.
I thought that was actually really funny.
Yeah, I think that was I like that part. Anyway, but
yeah, I think all the stuff with fate and destiny.
Yeah.
Is stupid. And it's a cop-out, and
there's this thing called retconning.
It really lessens the impacts of everything they did by choice in the first movie, and now it's like, nah, you were fated to do that.
Yeah. Really lame as hell. So retconning, retroactive continuity, that's what it stands for, right?
Yes.
Okay. So retroactive continuity, what I imagine it as in the past is like, oh, okay, they'll rewrite somebody to like write them out of a movie or something. I didn't really imagine retroactive continuity as like adding continuity, but that's what they're doing here, is retroactive continuity, retconning things. And they give Rick O'Connell the mark of the Magi, and he's like, oh, what are you for God? Okay, Ardeth, let's calm down. And then apparently,
it's just like they didn't have to add any of that.
Yeah, I think a strong movie could have been made without all this BS. You didn't have to be like, oh, it's fate. Anyway. But then Evie...
Like, oh, it's fate. You grab the amulet, and it's fate. Rick's the one to kill the Scorpion King. It's like,
yeah.
What if you just had them do it?
Mm-hmm.
What if you just had them do it? Is that too much to ask?
Because then it's like... like what Josh was saying, it kind of takes away from the things in the first movie. Man. God. This movie's awful. Anyway. Especially when compared to the first one. The first one is so nice. So wondrous. Let's just continue going on. They get the bracelet of Anubis and they go back to their house and Alex puts on the bracelet and then he gets a vision.
That's their son.
That's her son. Oh yeah, they have a son.
No, it's not a vision. It's a holographic projection.
Whatever, dude. He uses the word vision.
Clearly a holographic projection projected from the bracelet.
Okay, buddy. In the script it says vision. Kill yourself.
Well, they should have made it seem like a vision and not a holographic projection.
Anyway, so then he's like, oh no, I gotta hide this bracelet, because Alex is a little troublemaker or whatever. And then Anoxinamun...
That's their son, by the way.
Yeah. Anoxinamun shows up. And Anoxinamun, she's the reincarnated version, and so we're like, oh dude, what's Anoxinamun doing here? But only in spirit. Oh dude, we skipped a part. I feel like we should start over.
What do we even skip?
When they found Imhotep, when they buried him up, and there were the scarabs.
Well, we can just explain that.
All right, whatever. Okay, so they dug up Imhotep, and there were scarabs, and the scarabs attacked people, and then the scarabs in this movie, I think, look a lot better.
We skipped my other note.
Oh, what's your other note?
We found him. Who disturbs this bracelet.
Oh, we'll drink from the Nile.
We'll drink from the Nile. And I took that as a note. I can't remember what I meant by it. But I thought it was worth... Oh, yes, wait. Okay, I do remember. I thought it was really stupid that they opened the chest and read the inscription afterwards.
Yeah, you'd think... Because in all the other movies, they always read the front before opening it. And even if they read it, whoever drinks from this will drink from the Nile and then opened it, that's in their character to read it and then open it. They've done it before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. Anyway, so they dig up Imhotep and he's
Oh yeah, sorry.
He's in the amber. I like that design. I like that I don't know, that prop. I like that prop a lot. There's a lot of cool classic cars in the background that look pretty neat. I like the I think they did a good job of setting it in the era that it's in, I feel like I'm watching a movie that takes place in 1933 or 1928 because I can't remember the years, I guess. Whatever. So that's good. Want to give them a little bit of props. Anyway, so then they're at the O'Connell estate. Anoxinamun shows up. Jonathan comes in, my boy. Oh, dude, yeah. I love Jonathan. Best character in the entire franchise. I swear to God.
Ooh, whoa, let's not go too far there.
You're right. Mr. Burns is pretty cool.
No, no, no.
Henderson. I like Henderson.
Oh, no, 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 no.
Oh, we can't forget Benny.
We all know who it is. Benny. Yeah, there
Benny
we go.
Gabor. Ho, ho, ho.
Best character. Jonathan's pretty funny though.
Oh, dude, I love Jonathan. Anyway, so Jonathan is, of course, hitting on this lady, and he's like, "Did I mention this is my house?" Great one-liners coming from Jonathan the whole time. The script writers, whoever wrote the script, and the dialogue specifically, was killing it with Jonathan's lines.
For one character only.
Yeah. The rest of the stuff, pretty corny. But Jonathan, he killed. Anyway, so then Anoxin Moon shows up.
With reincarnated Anoxinamoon?
Reincarnated Anoxin Moon
What could
shows
she
up.
possibly be getting out of this? Why is she just going along? Why is she just evil?
Yeah,
Because it's not Anoxinamoon.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Random
It
kid.
doesn't make sense for her to just be evil off the gate. She's not, she's not being paid very much money, I assume. I don't think that the
she's
curator.
just evil.
I don't think the curator of the museum has any money to give around, right? And like,
Well, I don't think she's being paid. She's like sadistic and evil.
yeah,
And she's like, she wants to do it, and I'm like, who is she?
yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, maybe she was getting visions like Evelyn, but then even then, like Evelyn wasn't like, I need to fight Anoxinamoon because of the visions, right? She had past experiences in real life fighting Emotep and Anoxinamoon. Anoxinamoon reincarnated didn't have that. She just got, discovered one day by the curator or whoever, and the curator was like, hey, you look like... Also, how do they know what Anoxinamoon looks like?
Excellent question.
Yeah, she just walks up and they're like, Anoxinamoon, all right, nice.
Oh,
it's
must
her.
be, you look like those hieroglyphics we saw of an ox in the moon.
Those
yeah, very
2,000-year-old
similar.
pictographs. Whatever.
It
Anyway.
must be you.
So then she walks up and she's like, Mr. O'Connell, after seeing Jonathan. And I'm sure everyone, like, they should know, especially the curator's there. The curator should know what Rick O'Connell looks like.
Yeah, and probably also like...
And what Jonathan looks like, because Jonathan would go to...
yeah, he'd go hang out with Evie.
Yeah. At the...
It's just like...
at the Field Museum
that's
or
what
whatever.
we're-
Museum of Antiquities. I mean, she's the director. Jonathan would just hang out with her at the Museum of Antiquities in Cairo. Why wouldn't he do it in London? So that doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense. I think maybe the director just
Did you hear that?
yeah, I did. Threw me off.
It's just a Red Bull.
Okay. Do you try the new flavor? What is it? Cherry
Yeah,
Sakura? Or no. Cherry
No, it's...
Lime something.
Sudoku lime. Wait,
Sudachi.
what's that?
Sudachi, true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Sudachi ice cream. Those Cars reference.
That's not what he says.
Anyway, so Jonathan's sitting in the chair. Killer line from Jonathan. He's like, this isn't my house. What am I doing here? Get me out of here. And he's like, I lost it in the card game. Just talking out of his bottom, And then Rick shows up and he's like, Jonathan, no more wild parties, I said. Good line from Rick. Anyway, then Anoxinamoon chucks a snake at his skull. What? That... Huh?
Oh, yeah.
And then
she does do that.
what's worse than her throwing the snake at him is him catching it out of the sky.
I mean, it's low.
Like a baseball.
We saying it's not kind of tough, though?
It's tough. It just doesn't make any sense. Maybe that was...
I don't know why they... Why is she
they were
trying to
setting
kill
it
him?
up, right, for like the Spear of Osiris catch at the end. Like, he caught a snake, he could catch the spear. Maybe just like have him throw spears earlier or something. I don't know. Snake is not
Why is she
necessary.
trying to kill him?
Yeah. Anyway.
Why is she launching a snake at his face when she needs him alive?
Yeah.
Is she stupid?
This movie has a lot of times where they come up to a problem and they're like, man, they could do the logical thing, or they could do something really cool looking, and they always go for what's really cool looking as opposed to what would make the most sense. And as much as I like things that look cool, I would also like things to make sense as well. The Mummy did that. The Mummy had things that looked cool and also made sense. Why can't The Mummy Returns have it? Anyway, so then there's a big sword fight. Loch Na comes up. Loch Na, cool as heck. There's a lot of aura in this movie.
No, he's not.
I gotta say, you don't like Loch Na?
He sucks.
What? Dude, Loch Na's
He just sits
cool,
around.
bro.
He just sits around and is like constantly bested by a child. And he's meant to be like threatening or something, and it's like
Yeah, I guess
you're kind of a clown, bro.
I feel like he's kind of intimidating. I think, I mean, Alex is messing with him, but there's still like,
Yeah, you're gonna be intimidating when you're just a big guy. But he's stupid.
well, who isn't in
And he
this
doesn't
movie?
have that much aura anyways.
Whatever. I think
He's just kind of here.
Anyway, whatever. Agree to disagree. Ardeth
I'm
Bay
sorry.
shows up.
I'm sorry. I didn't know I was talking to the biggest Loch Na fan in the world.
I like Loch Na. What can I say? I think he's pretty cool. Not as cool as Ardeth Bay though, of course.
Also, there's like an implied rivalry with him and Ardeth Bay.
Yeah, that's not
It's
really
like,
explained.
who are these people, bro?
Not bad for a Medjai. What?
Who is he?
Yeah, that would have been nice. Oh Lord. That would have been sorry. Just lost all of my I couldn't hear anything. So I thought something broke.
Oh.
Yeah, my bad. Anyway, that would have been nice to
still
know
here.
like what's up with Loch Na and Ardeth Bay and the Medjai and also they're called the Cult of Imhotep. How does one
Where did
join?
these guys come from?
Yeah.
Why?
How does one join the Cult of Imhotep?
Because,
How
he
do
would have
I
been...
join?
People wouldn't have believed in him, and then he would have showed up and just kind of enslaved people. For about a day or two
Yeah.
in Egypt, and then got murked again.
Maybe that's
So I don't know why they heard that and went like, bro, he's so cool, I have to follow him.
Dude, they
I
saw,
probably would have been like,
they
what a
saw his
loser.
robes and they were like, that's kind of cool.
That's
Man,
kind of
dude.
mean.
Anyway, so they resurrect him
Like,
for
what
some
are
reason.
any of them getting out of this? Nothing.
Yeah, that's real.
At least
It's
Benny
not-
was
yeah,
getting
Benny was.
money
Yeah. Anyway,
because he's the goat.
yeah, he is the goat. Anyway, so then they're sword fighting. Evie pulls off some crazy gymnastics moves, and then Alex is like, "Mom, where'd you learn that?" And she's like, "I don't know." Okay. These visions, I
Oh,
can't do it.
setting up.
I can't do
Woo.
it. Kill me. Kill me. Are you building Legos right now? Josh.
I'm incredibly amazed at what this microphone picks up. I don't know how you clocked that, to be honest.
I wish you could have heard it because it was like.
I was trying to be really quiet, too.
Anyway, were you pouring it on like a wooden table, dude? What's going on?
Yeah, but I was
okay.
I was going
You
really
should've
slow.
Oh,
And it was,
whatever.
It was really quiet on my end.
yeah?
I'm amazed here. Where were we?
I don't know. So they sword fight. They kidnap. They kidnap Evie,
Yeah.
and then they start chasing after her. And they find her in this warehouse. They track him to this warehouse.
How'd they find her?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just. Oh, I remember what it was. They were trying to figure out where they took her, and then Alex was like, "Oh, I recognize the curator." So then they went to the Museum of Antiquities. That
If I was
makes sense.
that guy, I probably wouldn't have gone to the place I work at to resurrect this mummy and kidnap a person.
Yeah.
So why don't they? Is there no police around? Where do they live?
London.
Can't they call the cops
the
and be
middle
like,
of London.
yeah? Can't they call the London police and be like, yeah, my wife was just kidnapped and we know where they are?
It could have
I
been
feel
a
like
cool
they
scene, actually.
They should have looked into that.
Yeah.
Probably.
Anyway, so then they go to the museum, and the cult of Imhotep is resurrecting Imhotep, of course, and he's like, Yahweh, 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 but he says Yahweh a lot, and in the first movie, she just says Yahweh 3 times. Sitsue, Yahweh, 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 and then he wakes up immediately. But in this one, he's like, Yahweh, Yahweh, and he says it like 20 times, and you slowly see him like waking up and then burst out of the thing. And that's, I don't know, continuity error, in my opinion.
Okay, can you remind me what happened at the end of the last movie? Like, didn't they just what did they do to Imhotep? Because how is he able to be resurrected?
Okay, so
But could you hear it again?
could I what?
No, why are you laughing?
No, I was laughing at your question because like it really doesn't make any sense. Okay, so basically, it's not explained what the why can't I think of the Hamdai, the curse of the the Hamdai. It's not explained what that curse does, which would have been nice. Basically, like it explains what happens if you resurrect him, but like, why would you put a curse on somebody if the only things are benefits for the cursee when they're awoken?
I thought wasn't he like his soul kept in the body?
So that's never explained. That's like my headcanon that I've told you.
Oh.
I like talking about the mummy a lot, so I'll be like, this is what I think. So I'll tell you guys, what the hell? So I believe that the Hamdai causes the spirit of the cursee to be bound to the earth, to this mortal plane, so their spirit can't access the afterlife. If you go into the Egyptian afterlife, they weigh your heart against a feather, and if the feather is heavier than your heart, then, oh man, you get to go to the afterlife and you have a good time. But if your heart is heavier than the feather, then you basically cease to exist. But it's better to cease to exist than to be stuck as just a wandering spirit, bound to wherever your body was laying forever. So that's why they cursed him with the Hamdai. But unfortunately, what comes with the curse of the Hamdai is you become a curse upon mankind, an unholy flesh eater with the strength of ages, power of the plagues, the sands, and the glory of invincibility, yada, 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 whatever. So
I just did some, I don't mean to interrupt you, I just did some research.
Yeah.
And a chicken's feather
What?
is on average 0.0082 grams, while a human heart is 200 to 400. So I don't think anyone's making it to the afterlife.
Well, the point is the point is that it's like your spirit, right? Like, how good of a person were you? So if you're a good person, your heart will be lighter.
It shrinks?
I guess, bro. Anyway, so
You thought I did a research on the movie?
yeah, that's what I was like, oh, okay. Anyway, so yeah, that's my headcanon for why the Hamdai curse works, because otherwise you're just cursing him, you're just making him invincible for no reason if he ever wakes up. And there's no like trade-off. So I imagine like, oh, there's got to be a trade-off in order to keep his soul bound to the world. Anyway,
Apparently he can just come back
yeah. Cuz if his soul
just over and over.
yeah. Anywho, so that's my headcanon for it. At the end of the movie, they find the Book of Amun-Ra, which is the golden book, the Golden Book of Amun-Ra. And then there's the Black Book of the Dead. The Black Book of the Dead gives life. The Golden Book of Amun-Ra takes it away. Anyway, so they take the book, which was hidden under the statue of Horus, and they bring it, and Evie reads it, and he's like, "Oh, what's that? What's that symbol? It's a bird, a stork, a malefice." And then she says the incantation, and then a chariot comes and takes away what appears to be his soul, but it can't be his soul. It has to be his his spirit, you know, or not his spirit, his invincibility, his powers is what's been taken away from him, because otherwise he'd just be dead again. Anyway, so it takes away his invincibility, and then he walks up to Rick O'Connell, and then he stabs him in the stomach.
I did do some research.
Okay, enlighten me.
You're just correct.
Oh, my headcanon's correct?
The Ka of the victim's soul is forever trapped within their corpse instead of being allowed into the afterlife, while the Ba portion of their soul cannot roam far beyond their body's burial place. That's the one that, like, is in the sand.
Where are you reading this
So,
from?
yeah, he's not... Wikipedia.
Okay, sick. Good source. Good source.
Yeah. So apparently, yeah, he can't enter the afterlife.
Okay, sick. Okay, nice. So my headcanon was just correct. Awesome. I wonder where that person's getting this information from, because that's not listed anywhere. So I think
I'm
this
not checking
guy
the sources.
must have the same headcanon as me.
So when the movie ends, the first one, don't they send him to the afterlife?
No. So when the movie ends, they take his okay, let's see what this says.
Number one Mummy fan, huh?
Wait, what part of the thing did you read?
What?
What part of the Wikipedia did you read?
The one on the specific curse.
Well, yeah, I'm looking at it, the Hamdai.
Just read through.
Okay. So at the very end it says, reading an incantation from the Book of the Dead resurrects the cursed individual, re-energizing their Ba and giving them the power of invincibility, but condemning them to be a spreader of pestilence. So that's why he's evil, by the way. That's why he's like, you know, oh, I'm going to resurrect. You know, he should just be evil, but for some reason he also wants to resurrect his girlfriend. But it's never really, I mean, it's not explained very well in the movies. So, anyway, a passage from the Book of Amun-Ra removes the immortality from the cursive individual, leaving them vulnerable and subject to being killed. So, Imhotep gets his immortality taken away, and then he gets stabbed. And then he falls into this pit of, like, oil, basically. And the oil hardens, and that's how they find him in the next movie.
Weren't there souls in the oil?
There were souls in the oil, yes. But I don't think that's...
I feel like that should be addressed in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're just like, could we do something that looks cool, or could we do something that makes sense? And they decide to do something that looks cool and never explain it. If they were to do these cool-looking things, you know, ooh, that looks eerie and spooky and neat and, you know, whatever. If they were to do those and then explain them, then it would all be fine, but they don't. Anyway, moving on. They resurrect him. As Rick and Ardeth Bay are walking through the warehouse, other mummies are being awoken. That, I don't get that, because so in the first movie, when they were reading the curse, it only woke up Imhotep when they were reading the incantation from the Book of the Dead. But there were plenty of mummies around No, not Amshare. Hamunaptra. There were plenty of mummies around Hamunaptra at the time that if they read this, they all would have gotten awoken. All the priests would have woken up. Why didn't they? And why do all the random mummies in this in the museum also wake up when they're reading it? It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so they're woken up, and then Imhotep sees Anck-su-namun reincarnated and is like, oh my gosh, Anck-su-namun reincarnated, and he has eyes now, but he still doesn't have any of the other organs, so he still has to assimilate the skin and tissues and everything from the 3 henchmen, but he doesn't have to assimilate their eyes for whatever reason. Just their skin and other organs, no eyes or tongue. So he can automatically speak in this one. Before he could be like, until he, stole the tongue from, yeah. Anyway. Then he's going to throw Evie in the fire, and then Rick comes out of the way, grabs her, saves her. Ardith Bay's shooting people up. Loch Na is aura farming. And then they go on a bus, and they're riding away on the bus because Jonathan and Alex, they locked their car or whatever, and they found a bus. Anyway, then there's this cool battle scene on the bus between Rick and Ardeth, and then some mummy soldiers that Imhotep woke up. His powers also in this one are not. In the first one, pretty clearly defined powers, which is good. He doesn't go past what his powers are listed as. There are weird interpretations on the powers, like the boils and sores. For some reason, that he can zombify people with boils and sores. Okay, that doesn't really make any sense, but it's okay. I can live with it. On this one, he's just like, okay, yeah, I can mind control people. I guess not mind control. He can send out force fields, and he can
telekinesis.
Telekinesis, yes. That's what I was going to say, that as
Vader.
well. And then he just picks up dust, right, from this urn, and then blows the dust, and then the dust just turns into the mummified soldiers.
He also uses control over sand, which again, I don't know where that came from in the first one, but they just do it with water.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
He's also just bad at using it.
Yeah. Well, the sand one, they say he'll have power over the sands as part of the curse. I don't know. They say it, so that one makes sense. He doesn't. He shouldn't. Yeah, he's like power of the sands.
Well, water is very similar to sand.
Yeah, as we all know. Anyway, so everything looks fine. They take care of those mummy warriors, and then they go to a hug and requiesce or whatever, hang out. That requiesce isn't the right word, whatever. And then Loch Na and one of the other guys reaches into the car and steals Alex because he has the bracelet. And then they take him away to Karnak, which is the first stop. And then Rick, as he's chasing them away, runs. So they're on the bridge where Big Ben is near, that big famous bridge in England, and it's opening, right? Because the bad guys open it to create a rift between the bad guys and Rick O'Connell, and Rick O'Connell's running towards them instead of getting in the car, or maybe just stopping the bridge. And he runs all the way up to the top of the bridge and catches the bridge, and then it's fully open. So he's just hanging probably 75 feet, 50 feet, something like that, from the floor, from the top of this bridge. Just hanging there. If he were to let go, he'd fall and die. So, that's kind of funny. Josh, any thoughts? Are you busy with your Legos?
I don't know why he does that.
Okay. He's busy with his Legos.
No, I'm not. I'm listening to you. I'm just sitting here. Then,
this is the most critical I've ever been about a movie in my whole life.
The next scene, it cuts away and he's off the bridge, and the bridge is being lowered in the background.
And I just thought it was kind of weird they wouldn't lower the bridge and like get him as it's being lowered.
Yeah, I do remember that. They had to raise the bridge one more time. They got him down and then raised the bridge and then lowered it again.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then they're like, man, we gotta figure out a way. We gotta get to, we gotta figure out where they're going, and then we gotta get there before they do. Cause, well, I guess they gotta figure out how to get to the Oasis of Amshare. In the beginning when, the Scorpion King, Matthias made a deal with, the Scorpion King made a deal with, Anubis. The Oasis of Amshare.
I'm sorry, who's created. Matthias?
Matthias is the Scorpion King's real name.
That's a stupid name.
Anyway,
I guess I never thought about what his real name was.
I know, because he's just the Scorpion King. But then you watch the prequel. We'll have to talk about the prequel because it's a whole nother can of worms. But it's like, how did this guy become evil and want to, take over the planet? Because it's like, in the beginning, it's like, the Scorpion King went on a bloody campaign, killing all in his path.
I'm sure that's answered in the Scorpion King's Book of Souls.
That's actually not.
Oh.
I was being funny when I said Book of Souls, or when I said yes. It's not answered. They don't answer any of it. He's still a good dude by the end of the Book of Souls.
Maybe he's a good dude in The Mummy Returns, and the narrator's lying.
Oh yeah, the Scorpion King's actually a. Why would Ardeth Bay lie though? I'm just kidding.
Okay, what if the Scorpion King came back and he was roaring, but to be fair, he was turning into a scorpion. What if he was saying, "Hey guys,
I'm
here to help."
He speaks. He speaks Egyptian. The Scorpion King, just yells, but he also speaks Egyptian. We'll talk about it.
I guess I forgot about that. Well, what if he went, "Hey, I'm just a chill guy. I'm here to help," and Rick just killed him?
Maybe.
Where are we at?
Let's see. Oh.
You're supposed to keep us on track here.
They're going to Karnak.
That's your job.
And they're like, okay, well, we know he goes to Karnak, so we got to figure out where he's going. So then Rick, Evie, and Jonathan and Ardeth go find... dude, I can't remember his name.
It doesn't matter. Guy with the blimp.
The dirigible. Yeah, it's like it was another moment where it's like, oh, we could do something that makes sense, or we could do something that's kind of cool, and then they chose to do something that is kind of neat but makes zero sense.
I will find his name.
Dude, I just looked up a picture of
Izzy,
right.
Yeah.
I just saw a picture of Alex in the modern day. Crazy to see. Anyway.
What?
He just looks old. As all children do when they get old.
That's what age does.
Yeah. Anyway. So they go to Karnak. Ardeth Bay has a bird named Horus. I'm a big fan of this bird. It's a hawk, and it's sick as hell. Lot of aura farming from this guy. Anyway, when they're going to Karnak, mind you, Imhotep in his rotted form has been around for like 8 minutes probably, if I had to guess. And the three thieves, they bring the chest that they got from the museum, and they bring the sacred chest and the canopic jars to Imhotep, and they're like, "Hey, look, we found it." And then they don't know what Imhotep looks like, and Anck-su-namun reincarnated is like, "Hey, all right, go into the
Go in that little tiny room with him.
Yeah, go in that little tiny room." And they go in there, and there's nobody in there, and they're like, "Man, where is this guy?" And then like spooky stuff starts happening, and then Imhotep shows himself, like all rotted and decayed. And then he goes and he's freaking him out, and then one of the thieves opens the chest, and then Imhotep from there assimilates all of them, and then it shows what is, in my opinion, the worst shot of the movie. He assimilates the one tall, skinny guy who looks like Pintel, and like sucks him off, and then anyway.
Right, of course, that's what he does to him.
And after assimilating him, he turns to the other two thieves, and it's the worst CGI shot in the whole movie.
That's such a bold claim when you're talking about the Mummy Returns.
I think it's worse than the Scorpion King. I think the Scorpion King is far enough away that it's not as terrible, and it's like at the tail end of the movie, and everybody's like, it's been talked up about, like, oh, the Scorpion King. But I think this is genuinely the worst shot when he turns and his skin is just like, a little bit more put together, but it looks awful. It's really
I do think
bad.
It's worth noting there is no good CGI in the entire film.
Yeah, that's fair, but this is the worst shot, in my opinion. There's so much more CGI in this film, by the way. And okay, in the first movie, do you remember the at the very end when Evelyn is tied up against the sacrificing altar, I guess, and he's going to kill Evelyn and get Anck-su-namun's spirit back. He and all the mummified priests are around him. Every single one of them is CGI. All of the mummified priests are CGI. And
it looks way better.
Significantly. And also, might I add that 2005 happens, 4 years after this. I know there's a lot of, space to be done in 4 years, but man, yeah, like 2000, I guess I'm bringing up 2005 because that's when, man, Revenge of the Sith came out, and King Kong, both of which have pretty solid CGI compared to this.
What we really should be looking at is Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Attack of the Clones doesn't look good. But Phantom Menace.
Yeah, 1999, same year as The Mummy. And that looks significantly better. Both of those movies look significantly better than this.
They look way better than this.
And ILM is the ones that worked on this movie.
Yeah. This is just a bad-looking movie.
And their budget was massive. ILM worked on Jurassic Park as well, let it be known. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, and that was 93.
The same guys, yeah. Almost 10 years before. Unbelievable.
I do believe, weren't they rushed and they asked for more time and the studio said no? And they just said, well, we're done then.
I saw this post on Reddit the other day, and it was like, should we remaster? Would you guys like to see a remaster of The Mummy Returns? And all the people were like, no, the original is, I like to see the original. It's part of its charm. That's why I like the movie so much. And that doesn't make any sense, right? Because that wasn't what it was supposed to look like originally. Like what Josh said, is the visual effects people, VFX artists, were working on the movie, and their deadline was, they were crunching it, but they would have had time. And then the producers came to him and were like, "Hey guys, so we need this movie in like a week." And they were like, "What?" And we can't do that. We can't give it to you in a week. We're not even close to being done. And the studio was like, "Make it happen, brother." And so they turned in all their work incomplete. So that's why it looks like crap. So we have the producers and the studio to blame for The Mummy Returns looking bad. We could have had a killer Mummy Returns in terms of visual art, maybe not script writing, but could have had a better looking movie. Anyway. Then after this, I'm going to skip a bunch of random crap, but
actually, can we just skip?
Alex keeps leaving little clues to be like, "Hey, follow me around," because they need the clues to be able to know where they're going, because the bracelet is holographic projecting their next location.
Yeah.
And the Loch-Na and Imhotep and Anck-su-namun and museum curator and all 300 of their henchmen just don't notice
nobody
this
catches
one
them?
kid building sand castles all the time.
Finally,
it's really stupid.
Loch-Na catches him. But actually, we got to talk about this one thing before. After he gets assimilated, he's been the gross mummy for 10 minutes, and now he's just normal Imhotep. So that's kind of lame. Let us have gross Imhotep for longer. It's called the Mummy, not Imhotep. I mean, I get that Imhotep is the mummy, but I don't want to see a random dude.
I'm pretty sure it's called The Mummy Returns.
Okay. Well, the mummy should return, not... Also, I don't know... Arnold Vosloo, the actor for Imhotep, is just so buff in this movie compared to the first one. He looks like he's just packing on the muscle. It's crazy. Anyway, after Imhotep gets reformed, he brings Anck-su-namun over to this pool, like a reflecting pool, and he brings her over there, and then he does some magic on the reflecting pool, which, some of the curses, some of the stuff he can do does make sense. I mean, he is like a sorcerer, so if water bending and magic and telekinesis is part of his Egyptian sorcerer powers, then I guess that could make sense, but it's not explained. We just have to assume.
Yeah, and even then, it's like, well, he would have used him in the first one.
Yeah. But anyway, so he goes to this
it just
pool.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. He goes to this pool, and he causes Anck-su-namun to see a vision and puts her soul back into Anck-su-namun reincarnated body. Yeah. So now it's real.
That other lady? That
Gone.
other lady?
Gone.
She's just dead.
Yeah.
Gone. It's like really stupid. I don't get it. I don't get her at all.
Also, at one point earlier in the movie, when Imhotep's gross,
they kiss.
Yeah.
And it's like
he goes
that's
up
not
to
her,
kiss
though.
Anck-su-namun reincarnated, and she's backing up, right, because he's a freaking corpse. And then he gives her a vision, and then he looks normal, and she's like, "Oh man, dude, I'm on a balcony in Egypt. How nice. I'll make out with this bald dude." And then it switches, back to reality, and she's just making out with a dead body. Freaky as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so during this vision, Anck-su-namun's also like, "Oh, dude, I hate Evelyn, because Evelyn's also the reincarnated version of Nefertiti." Okay.
Which I hate.
Who wrote this movie? They need to be shot.
It's so stupid.
Anyway, so then Loch-Na is like, "Oh, dude, little Alex, you've been leaving clues for your rescuers, man, dude. What the hell?" So then there's a big water wall, and the water wall looks awful. There's this one point, dude, it's just he goes to eat him, and we don't need to see clips of Imhotep controlling the water. Like in the first one, he controlled the sand, and there was a clip of him just standing there with his arms out, not making any goofy faces. You know, he just looks like he's concentrating, he's aura farming. That's a good reaction shot, right? But as soon as the mouth of the water opens, it cuts to Emotep, who's just like mouth wide open like a fool. Like, oh. And it's like, dude,
Yeah.
we did not need that shot. Like, you're making this movie too corny. Anyway, so then Izzy and his dirigible. Why can't it be a plane, dude? I understand, like, this is a movie about a mummy. We don't need, like, if it was like an actual Zeppelin, that would be cool. But it's a boat with a balloon on it. What? You know, I like my movies to be somewhat believable, even if I'm watching a fantasy movie. I can't get behind this. Anyway,
True.
so then they all crash, and the Spear of Osiris. Jonathan had the Spear of Osiris a long time ago, for some reason.
Oh, he just brings it along.
I don't know how he got it. I don't know why he.
It's fate.
Brought
Fate.
it. Yeah,
Destiny.
Fate. Kill
Got
him.
him.
Yeah.
You're done.
It would have been cool if, you know, they like excavated it, and then, you know, that led to another thing, which led to another thing, and then, you know, just good script writing, maybe would have been awesome. Anyway, Jonathan takes the spear, the golden spear, for whatever reason. Yeah, take it, Jonathan. And then they go to save little Alex. Jonathan and Evie do some aura farming. They're on top of this ledge, and they're shooting people. There are these little pygmies. What are your thoughts on the pygmies? I kind of like them. I don't think they look too bad. Oh, okay.
Why are the pygmies?
It doesn't make sense why they're there. But I think the pygmies are the best.
They're like knockoff scarabs. Is what they are. And they're lame, and they're just these weird little guys who are just chilling in this forest this oasis for some reason. I don't know, not an oasis if you have these little evil beings who just eat people living there. I wouldn't call that an oasis. I'd call it evil jungle with evil pygmies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's another example of like, oh, this will be cool. What?
They just threw it in, bro.
Yeah, they're just. I think they had like a bowl, and a bunch of people wrote ideas in the bowl, and they'll pull ideas out, and they're like, okay, we'll do that.
They pulled out terracotta soldier, and they said, we'll do that next time.
We'll do that next time, bastards. Anyway,
yeah, they get past the pygmies. I don't think anything crazy
They get past
happened.
the pygmy. Oh, there's just one. This is one part where there's a cultist and Jonathan, and they're both running because Jonathan takes a wrong turn, and him and the cultist are like running next to each other.
They just kind of joined together for a little bit.
Yeah, and then there's like some stones, and Jonathan and the cultist like take a left turn into the stones, and then Jonathan's like, we're safe here. And the guy's like, how do you know? And he's like, you see the stones? They'll never pass those sacred stones. And then one of them turns and like runs right at the cultist dude. He's running towards Jonathan actually, and then he jumps. And then Jonathan ducks and he stabs the cultist dude in the chest. The little pygmy does. And Jonathan's like, oh, my mistake. And then runs off. And it wasn't necessary, but it was made me laugh a little bit.
Kind of funny.
Made me giggle. Anyway. So then Alex is the only one that knows that if the sun touches his bracelet, he'll die.
They just like kind of meet up with Alex.
Yeah, they found okay. Loch Nah and Ardeth Bay had a really cool battle. I thought it was pretty neat. And that's when Rick rescues Alex. And then he's running. Alex is like, "Oh my gosh, hey, if I don't get into the pyramid." So basically, when he put the bracelet on, it was like showed him a vision, and then he had 7 days to get to the pyramid in Amshare before sunrise or he'd die. I don't know if that's accurate. I don't know if anybody's ever made it to the pyramid. Clearly not, because for 3,000 years, the bracelet of Anubis has just been in this in the temple at the very beginning, and they awaken every 5,000 years, something like that. So they've only fought the army of Anubis has only gone over the earth once before this, and so I don't know how Ardeth Bey knows that chopping the head off of an Anubis warrior is the only way to kill him if they've only been around one time.
It was passed down.
Surely somebody would have messed up and been like, oh, you cut off their... What rhymes with head?
Dead.
You give them head and they die.
Oh.
Anyway, so they make it there. The sun does some weird mechanics and works not how the sun works. Just, you know, the sun doesn't work like how they think it works. They were running, and the sun was behind them as they were running towards the temple, which the sun would beat them to the temple instead of chasing them. If the sun, you know, rose on the other side, then it would make sense, kind of. But that's not how it works. Anyway, so they get in, and then the curator finds the bracelet and he puts it on, and oh shoot, I'm skipping something. As soon as Rick and Alex are like chilling, right? They've made it to the temple. Evie gets stabbed by Anaxinamun. Anaxinamun comes out of nowhere and just stabs her right in the stomach. And everybody runs over and they're like, oh my god, Evie's dead. Which would have had a lot more impact if in 10 minutes I didn't resurrect her. I think
it was like in any other movie.
What?
And the one called The Mummy.
What'd you say?
What?
What?
I'd have more impact if it was in any other movie instead of the one called The Mummy.
Yeah. Anyway.
Because it's just like, yeah, fate, and there's a bunch of books to resurrect people, whatever, alright.
Yeah. Anyway, so then Rick is like, man, dude, I'm gonna kill that guy. So he's got a lot of aura in this moment because he's like, I'm gonna go fight Imhotep and I'm gonna kill the Scorpion King.
Right, have we even explained why they're going for the Scorpion King? Imhotep's just gonna like kill him and steal his army because you can allegedly do that.
Yeah, so if you kill the Scorpion King, you get command of his armies. And because he's evil, because of the Hamdai curse, he's like, I gotta destroy the world. But I also really like sex, so I'm gonna resurrect my girlfriend.
Yeah.
I hate this movie.
This is true.
And anyway, so the curator finds the Anubis bracelet, and he goes into the
What?
He goes into the pyramid, and he finds this scorpion idol thing, and he puts his arm in there to bring back the army of Anubis to summon them. I don't know how he knew that would work. Nobody's ever been to the Oasis of Ansher and came back. You know? So how would he know that that's how you resurrect the army of Anubis? How would he know?
I think it was fate.
No, it was fate. Duh. Why didn't I think that? Anyway.
The writers did.
Rick, Imhotep and Anaxinamun go into this, they go to where the Scorpion King is, and Emotep gets his powers taken away from him. He has telekinesis, so he tries to use his telekinesis, but he can't use it. And so he's like, oh, it appears the gods want me to fight him as a mortal. And then Anaxagomoon says, don't go in there, you'll die. And then he goes in.
That's not very fair.
Yeah. Goes in there anyway.
Yeah.
Well, it's supposed to be a challenge fighting the Scorpion King, I believe. So, anyway.
Why?
I don't know, man. Anyway, so then Alex is sitting there, and Jonathan's trying to comfort him, and then he's like, oh, wait, I'll just resurrect her. Okay, no worries. And then Jonathan and Alex go in to get the book and to resurrect her, and they succeed. And yippee!
No stakes.
That was easy, yeah. Anyway,
Stakes are done.
so then Evie goes in and sees Anaxagomoon and then starts to fight her. Because in a vision, right, earlier, Anaxagomoon and Evie were fighting in Egypt, because they're reincarnated versions of themselves. And so then Evie starts to fight her, and Anaxagomoon is like, oh, I see you've remembered the old ways. All right. Okay.
So you think because Evie was like daughter of the pharaoh, you think she owned slaves?
Maybe. I
I
watched
don't know
this
why
movie.
they did that.
I watched this movie.
Isn't the pharaoh like not great?
Yeah, kind of a bad guy. It's okay. It is what it is. The
What?
what was I gonna say? Oh, I watched the movie with my roommates, and one of my roommates was like came in halfway through, and he was like, "Why is she saying you remember the old ways?" And then I had to explain the whole movie, and he was just like, "Oh, okay." And I just think that's, I don't know. I thought it was telling that he was like, "All right, this is kind of crazy."
I mean, not much you can really do with it and be like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, so then the army of Anubis comes in on the Wikipedia, the Mummy Wiki. It says that the jackal warriors are mummies. I don't think that's correct. I don't think they are mummies.
They look like crazy CGI evil monsters.
Yeah, I think they're just monsters. They're not mummies. They're jackal warriors, not a mummy. Anyway, so there's this big black storm of sand, and it all lands on the ground, and then the jackal warriors are formed from it, and then they start charging the Magi warriors. I didn't explain this earlier, but Ardeth Bey had this bird named Horus, and he was using it to communicate with the 12 heads of the Magi tribes, 11 heads, I believe, because I think he's considered a head of the Magi.
I thought he was like the main guy.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, then the Magi go to the Oasis of Amsher and prepare for battle. The desert outside of it, I guess. Anyway, so that's why they're all there. Horus gets shot by Loch Na, and that's why Ardeth Bey kills Loch Na.
No!
Because he killed this bird. How dare Loch Na?
No, Horus, no.
I was really sad the first time I watched that movie and I saw Horus die. I was like, no. Anyway.
I was like, all right.
So they fight this big army of warriors, and they the Magi fight the Anubis warriors, and they kill all of them, and then oh no, there's another wave of soldiers, and at the same time Rick and Imhotep are fighting, and then the Scorpion King comes out.
What was Wave 2 doing?
They were just trolling, bro.
They were just letting all their comrades die.
They're just like, oh, this will be funny. We'll have 2 waves.
Hey, we're gonna do a prank. We're gonna send in the worst ones, our worst fighters, to go get killed. Hey, wouldn't that be funny? That's what they said.
Yeah. I read somewhere, I don't remember how long ago it was, but or where it was, but it was that when an Anubis warrior kills a human, that human becomes an Anubis warrior. But I don't know if that's accurate.
We can talk about how tough their design is.
Yeah, they do look really cool.
They're really cool looking. If we completely ignore the CGI.
This is not the worst CGI movie. Not great, but
that's true.
Not
but the
terrible.
design is really cool.
Yeah, dude. Some of the concept art for the Mummy Returns is really, really sick.
What?
The concept art for the Mummy Returns is really, really sick.
Oh.
Anyway, but then Rick and Emotep are fighting, and then the Scorpion King comes out, and then he's yelling at people, and then he kills the curator, and he rips the curator. He like grabs the curator, and he's like, "Help me, help me!" And Emotep is like, "Why?" And then he rips him into 5 pieces. And I thought that was kind of cool.
What was in it for the curator?
Nothing. Death. He did so much for Emotep for no reason.
I probably wouldn't have tried to resurrect an evil mummy planning to take over the world.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't mention this. I apologize to go back so far. But it's like, when Imhotep's awakened, he just, like, immediately understands their plan.
What year is it?
Like, without talking to them.
Yeah. What year is it?
They tell him
the year
the year.
of the Scorpion. And he's like, oh.
He's like, oh, okay, now I understand exactly what's going on. Every single thing. And it's like, I think you guys just didn't want to explain it. Because that doesn't make any sense. Anyways, back to the finale.
Terrible.
Big Scorpion King shows up.
Yeah, when the Scorpion King comes out, he immediately goes for Emotep, and Emotep is like, he says like, I don't know, he says something while touching his
He
shoulders.
folds under zero pressure, bro. He goes, hey, I'm your servant, bro, and kneels down.
And then the Scorpion King, Matthias, who can speak Egyptian, is like, we shall see.
If I was him, I probably would just kill him because I got kind of a crazy army of wacky soldiers.
Do you really need this guy? No.
Probably not.
I think it's funny, though, that
him.
Emotep basically became Benny.
That is true.
At the first sign of no immortality and a giant scorpion and a giant evil monster. Yeah. Anyway. So then Jonathan and Alex find Rick, and then they see the Scorpion King, and by this time Rick has figured out that golden thing that Jonathan happened to bring with him was a spear. And he's like, oh, it's fate. It really is fate. And he's like, all right, now I'm a believer. Lame line. And then he's like, it's a spear, Jonathan, it's a spear. And then Jonathan opens the spear, throws it at the Scorpion King. Emotep catches it out of the air, then goes to throw it at the Scorpion King, and then Rick catches it out of the air, does a dive roll while the Scorpion King's chased him, and then stabs him in the stomach last second before he falls into this pit of hell. And then as he stabs him, he's like, go to hell and take your friends with ya. And then, twists it around. And then Emotep comes out of nowhere and like dive rolls and like friggin', on his knees, and he's like, no.
Yeah.
And it's pretty corny, pretty cringe.
I think it's funny though.
What?
I think it's funny the way he says that.
I mean, it's funny, like, it is funny, but it's cringe that it's in this movie. You know what I mean? Like, it's...
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. So then the Scorpion King dies and takes his army back to the underworld as it's about to, as the Anubis warriors are about to run into the Magi, and as soon as the as soon as the Anubis as soon as the Anubis warriors,
army,
yeah.
why doesn't Rick? Why do they just disappear?
Well,
Shouldn't
because
they just like return to Rick?
Rick's
And be
when
like,
Rick
"Hey, bro,
killed
what you
him,
want?"
he decided to send him back to the underworld.
Okay then.
Yeah, he could have killed him and then kept him around, but he killed him and sent him back like immediately. Anyway, when the Anubis warriors are like dissipated and brought back, it shows you the last shot of the Magi. And they're all ducking, like they all would have died. None of them were in like a combat stance. They were all like cowering in fear. Not a good look for the Magi.
They don't often have good looks.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, and then the Oasis begins getting sucked into the pyramid and down into the underworld, and Rick and Imhotep are hanging from this balcony because they're hanging from this ledge that leads to the underworld, and there's a bunch of souls in there, and they start grabbing them and pulling them down, and Rick sees Evie, and he's like, Evie, get the hell out of here, and then Evie like runs to go save him and pull him up, and then Imhotep is like, Anoxinamun, save me. And then Anoxinamun just runs away. Can't help but feel bad for Imhotep in that moment. Oh,
yeah.
Poor Imhotep. Anyway, then Imhotep's
it's a good payoff.
Yeah.
But it's like, it takes way too... He's hanging on there for like 3 minutes or something.
Yeah.
It takes way too long.
And then Imhotep just lets go of the ledge and, gets brought down into the underworld. But I don't believe, in my opinion... I think he's still under the sand of the the desert of Amsher. Because his soul and body can't be taken to the underworld as per the curse. And I think, if this pit to the underworld is anything like the black pit with the spirits' souls in it, then his body would just still be there, and his soul is now tied to that part of the land.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So
yeah,
I think he's still under the sand over there. I don't think he's in the underworld now. Anyway, so then they all get to the top of the pyramid, and the Oasis is being taken away, and Jonathan sees like this big golden, he sees a crab holding a big diamond, basically. Crab scorpion thing. And he's like dangling over the edge of the dirigible, which Izzy fixed. It was broken earlier, but somehow he was just able to get it working in this jungle. After it was literally like broken into a billion pieces, he made it work again. Anyway, Jonathan's trying to reach for the big diamond, and Rick's like, it's not worth your life, and he's like, yes, it is. Anyway, then he gets a big diamond, and then they leave. And then as they're flying away in the dirigible, Orodeth Bey like rears up on his horse, and that looks pretty cool. And then the credits hit, and that's the end of the movie. Overall,
what a picture!
What a film! Overall, it was not good. Poor
One
CGI.
might even use the term bad.
Bad. Poor CGI. Awful.
The story's pretty bad.
Yeah. Awful story. Bad CGI. Terrible script writing. Terrible planning. Pretty awful directing. I don't know why this movie is as beloved as it is within the Mummy community, because it's not a good film. And I don't think that the Mummy The Mummy 4 has to get so much right to be good, and it's not gonna hit it.
Well, I'm glad they never made a third film.
Yeah, me too. I don't think they should retcon the third film. I'm actually anti-retconning again. I want to make that clear. But whatever, I'll take it. I'll take a fourth Mummy movie. Give me my goy slop. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, Josh, any closing thoughts before we get the heck out of here?
Yeah, it's not very good. The first one is. I like the first one. This one's bad. I remember you used to like it.
Yeah, upon several rewatches.
That's how bad it is.
Yeah, that it's turned away
now,
the biggest Mummy fan away from it.
Now he's realized it's bad.
Anyway, you know what's good? The Scorpion King, the movie, the spinoff, is better. I think the Scorpion King movie is better than this movie as a standalone film. If you have to take into account all the lore and like making stuff make sense, then it's not good. But as a standalone film, I think it's pretty cool. But that might change upon my rewatch. I'd like for us to do reviews of every Mummy movie and every Mummy adjacent film in prep for the 2027 release of the Mummy 4. Yippee. Josh is going to hate me.
I hear the excitement in my voice.
and I'm going to watch any movie that Josh says I have to for us to review, so.
Good.
Yeah. Anyway, this has been Amateur Hour. I hope that you got some dishes done or made your bed or did some laundry, did something with your time that was somewhat useful. Maybe you just listened to us to fall asleep, our beautiful voices, or, maybe you just like listening to us for fun. Who knows? But thank you so much for listening to our Amateur Hour. I'm James, and that's Josh, and we'll talk to you next week.
Hello. Bye.